SpaceX has confirmed it will refly a Starship booster for the first time. Booster 14, B-14-2, which previously supported a test flight, is now ready for a second mission on Flight 9. Notably, the vehicle will launch with 29 reused Raptor engines, marking a major milestone in SpaceX's push for rapid reusability in orbital-class launch vehicles. Well, here's some exciting news from SpaceX. They're planning to refly a Super Heavy booster for the first time on Flight 9. For the first time ever, SpaceX is reusing a Starship booster. Booster 14, B-14-2, is prepped for Flight 9 with an impressive 29 Raptor engines, all reused. This flight marks a giant leap toward full Starship reusability. Starbase is ramping up again as Booster 14 completes a static fire test ahead of its second flight, signaling SpaceX is pushed for faster turnarounds. A leaked launch date adds to the excitement for the next Starship mission. B-14's recent move to the launch pad caught many by surprise, even though it was somewhat anticipated. This marks a historic moment, the first time a Starship booster will be reused for a second flight. It's a huge leap forward for SpaceX's vision of rapid reusability, a key part of their long-term goals for Starship. To prepare for this unprecedented effort, SpaceX needed to conduct a new round of testing on B-14, which hadn't been active in nearly 3 months. In that time, it's possible that many internal adjustments or upgrades were made to improve its reliability or performance. So this round of testing was more than just a checkup. SpaceX shared video of a static fire of the Super Heavy preparing to launch for Starship's 9th flight test. It was a statement of intent. The row closures for testing were officially scheduled for the 3rd and 4th of April, and on the 1st, Booster 14 was transported to the launch pad. Once the booster was mounted on the OLM, SpaceX carried out preliminary tests, including checks of the igniter system and the detonation suppression system, both critical for a clean and stable engine start. As per the schedule, the road was closed and the pad cleared on the 3rd of April early in the morning. The engine chill began, shown by the heavy venting clouds, followed by a strong and sustained propellant load. Everything was building up to the moment everyone was waiting for. At 8:40 a.m. Central, the static fire test began. Thanks to multiple camera angles from SpaceX, we were able to witness the immense power of the Raptor engines in action. The 8-second burn sent a massive plume of exhaust into the air, indicating full-scale testing likely involving all 33 engines. This test would have generated over 7,000 tons of thrust, a truly incredible feat. Beyond raw power, the test seemed designed to verify other critical systems as well. Close of footage revealed that several of the engines were adjusting their output in real time, which may have been done to evaluate their responsiveness and fine control, vital for future precision maneuvers such as landing burns or engine relights in space. Another noteworthy observation was the condition of the grid fins. This time they showed no warping or damage, which can be interpreted in 2 ways. One possibility is that Booster 14 has received an upgraded set of grid fins. Alternatively, it's possible that the separation from the upper stage in Flight 7 was smoother than before, reducing thermal and vibrational stress on the fins. Either way, this indicates important progress for SpaceX's engineering and mission performance. Perhaps the most exciting detail came directly from SpaceX's social media. They posted, "Static fire of the Super Heavy preparing to launch Starship's 9th flight test." This booster previously launched and returned on Flight 7 and 29 of its 33 Raptor engines are flight-proven. And as SpaceX points out, the first Super Heavy reuse will be a step toward their goal of zero-touch reflight. And as Alejandro points out on X, when SpaceX landed the first Falcon 9 booster, they put it back on the pad 3 weeks later to perform a static fire. That's right, 29 engines from the previous flight are being reused, with only 4 having been swapped out. The booster then went on display at Hawthorne, and the second Falcon 9 booster that landed, however, was the first to be reused. And it looks like we're seeing the same scenario happening with Starship. That level of reusability is impressive, and marks a milestone in SpaceX's journey toward making fully reusable launch systems a reality. From close-up inspection, it appears the engines that were not replaced are mostly in the central and inner ring, showing signs of previous flight to wear, such as discoloration and warping. The new engines are likely among the outer ring, easily identified by their cleaner, more uniform appearance. This also raises the question, was the engine that failed during Flight 7 among those replaced? It's possible that SpaceX removed and swapped it for reliability, but it's equally possible that the team found a way to refurbish or repair it for reuse, a powerful testament to the design and adaptability of the Raptor engine line. All of this reinforces just how serious SpaceX is about advancing reusability. With each flight, they're pushing boundaries, reducing turnaround times, and redefining what's possible in orbital rocketry. The second object of interest is none other than Raptor Pi, or Raptor engine number 314. Positioned on the outer ring of the booster, it's located in the zone with the highest frequency of engine replacements. That naturally raises the question, will it be replaced ahead of Flight 9? I'm certainly hoping it gets reused. If so, it could become one of the first Raptor engines to achieve a third flight on a super heavy booster, perhaps even the very first. That would be an incredible milestone, not just for the engine itself, but for SpaceX's broader vision of redefining what rocket reusability truly means. This isn't just speculation. SpaceX itself has highlighted this upcoming flight as a step towards our goal of zero-touch reflight. That phrase captures the full ambition behind what's unfolding, a booster being refurbished and relaunched with minimal intervention, what revolutionized spaceflight logistics, paving the way for a near-airline-like model of operations. It's clear now that B-14's reuse is ushering in a brand new era. That said, the second flight won't end with a catch. B-14 is scheduled for an ocean landing rather than a return to the launch tower. Still, the splashdown-style recovery serves as a critical stepping stone. It's a test bed for future missions and sets the groundwork for boosters that might eventually flight dozens or even hundreds of times. And Flight 9 is the gateway to that future. Now let's talk timing. The launch date we've all been eagerly anticipating might finally be in sight. According to internal sources, the launch is tentatively targeted for April 18th, a Friday. Based on prior flights, the liftoff window will likely fall in the afternoon hours. This estimate gained even more credibility when Elon Musk reposted SpaceX's tweet with the comment, "First, ref flight of the Starship Super Heavy rocket booster coming up soon." That kind of confirmation, even if informal, holds real weight. Logistically, the timeline seems viable. After completing its static fire, Booster 14 is expected to return to the production site for final hot staging, hardware checks, and flight termination system installation. In fact, the booster transport stand has just been returned to the pad, signaling that B-14's movement is imminent. Meanwhile, Ship 35 is expected to arrive at Massey by the end of this week or the start of the next for its static fire campaign. This will likely involve several rounds of tests aimed at verifying fixes and improvements, especially since the last two flights encountered issues during ship's re-entry. Once testing wraps, S-35 will head back to the production site for final inspections, payload integration, and FTS installation. That process will probably conclude in the second or third week of April, just in time to align with the planned booster schedule. Once both stages are ready, they'll roll out to the launch pad for full stack integration, final checks, and pre-launch rehearsals. So is April 18th truly the date? It's possible, but if we consider past trends, SpaceX has often launched on Thursdays or weekends. My best guess? April 17th, if all goes smoothly, and the aim for a slightly earlier target. If there are delays, April 20th, a Sunday seems like a safe and symbolic fallback. All things considered, that would give us a turnaround window of 40 to 45 days since Flight 8, an impressive cadence, any sign of things to come. So what do you think the official launch date will be? Drop your prediction in the comments section and let's go. Additionally, it is a legitimately and characteristically bold decision to refly a Starship booster. on the next test flight, a test flight that the company really needs to be successful. After failures of the vehicle's upper stages in January and March. And so I do agree it's great that they are planning to refly a flight-proven booster. And likely be catching it again, but really SpaceX needs to make sure they don't lose another ship. Which would be pretty impressive if they're able to pull this off on only Flight 9 of Starship. It's hard to believe that SpaceX has already launched 8 full-scale test flights of Starship with the Super Heavy booster and Starship upper stage combo stacking together to form a rocket that towers over 400 feet tall. But many of you I'm sure are wondering when exactly is Flight 9 going to be? Well, the FAA did recently release some new information about both investigations of Flight 7 and Flight 8. As many of you know, SpaceX lost both ships on Flight 7 and Flight 8. And those test flights failed at roughly the same point in flight in January and in March. Another similarity, not only did they fail at about the same point, but they were both using the larger ship V2 or Block 2 version of Starship. So this is an upgraded version of the ship with a completely different design. And unfortunately, both of these failures have prevented SpaceX still from testing out their upgraded heat shield, which is very important to get right. This is one of the most significant design upgrades introduced with the Block 2 version of Starship. And so they can't go orbital yet until they get this right and make it past that 8-minute mark where we've seen 2 failures. Eric Berger with Ars Technica speculates that SpaceX will likely do the same trajectory and plan that we saw on Flight 7 and Flight 8 on the upcoming Flight 9. As far as Flight 7, SpaceX has closed out the investigation into that accident from the January test flight according to the FAA. Then the FAA recently announced that it accepted the results of SpaceX's investigation, which determined the probable root cause for the loss of the Starship vehicle was stronger than anticipated vibrations during flight that led to increased stress on and failure of the hardware in the propulsion system. And you could see it in the live stream, those vibrations led to a fire in the engine compartment before the engine shut down and the vehicle lost control. So after that first failure in January, SpaceX identified and implemented 11 corrective actions to prevent the same failure from happening again. But we still don't know a probable root cause for the launch failure in March. The FAA said SpaceX's investigation remains open. But since they were so similar, it's probably likely they have a similar underlying cause. However, it looks like the goal of having as many as 25 Starship flights in 2025 is probably not going to happen this year. And as Eric points out, and many people agree, including myself, Flight 9 probably won't be happening until late April or early May. SpaceX hasn't released a schedule for its next flight, but it's probably at least a month away. And that's because, well, the ship assigned to Flight 9 is still in its factory at Starbase. Then SpaceX will have to roll it out to a test stand for its own engine firing. And then there will probably be some final inspections and finishing touches. And then hopefully we finally see a successful flight with Starship version 2 of the ship. And that's about it for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and that's all for today's update. If you enjoyed watching and found it useful, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the like button. And if you want to support our channel and if you want to be up to date, you can become an exclusive member, so click on our perks through the link in the description below. Thanks to watching and see you next time.